What is going on, everyone, and welcome to r/ProRevenge. Now, in today's first story, a clever dad finds an ingenious way to stop a Minecraft user from harassing his daughter. Before we jump into that though, guys, if you are new around here, please consider hitting that subscribe button if you do go on to enjoy this video. I'm trying to hit 600,000 subscribers by the end of 2020, and it's going to be very, very close, so I need all the help I can get. Anyway, with that all being said, let's get into this incredible story of revenge. Harass my daughter on Minecraft? You can't hide from me. So, my daughter, who was about 8 at the time, was really into Minecraft, as most kids are these days. Also, desperately wanting to join the YouTube/Let's Play culture, I had installed some screen recording software that would let her make videos of the game she was playing so she could later upload them to YouTube. Anyways, one day I'm minding my own business when I hear her quietly sniffling over on the computer. I asked her what was wrong, but she didn't want to tell me, so I let it go, but decided to keep an eye on her. A few minutes later, I discovered what was happening. Someone was harassing not only her, but also all the other kids playing on whatever server she was on. This kid, we'll call him Little Idiot, was saying stuff about how he was going to RAPE my 8-year-old daughter. She told him how old she was, hoping he would stop, how he was going to hack into her IP and steal all her info, swearing profusely. Remember, this is a game for kids, etc, etc. By this time, I'd gotten my fiancée involved, and she was also obviously quite upset at what a little idiot this kid was being. We realised that our daughter had been recording the entire incident, and a plan began to form. I started by googling this guy's Minecraft username. There were several hits immediately, the most interesting of which involved a page where he was publicly applying to be a mod for a server on Minecraft. I was able to learn a lot about this little POS. He claimed to be 15, likes hockey, used to live in Toronto, but now lives in Florida. But the bombshell was easily his Skype contact info. It was literally first name dot last name. I know your name now, you little idiots. So I head over to Facebook and search for the name. Nothing. On a hunch, I searched for just the last name while narrowing my results to only the state of Florida. Several dozen hits. So I have to start combing through each one until I find what I was looking for. A middle-aged man with the same last name whose profile indicates he was born in Toronto and now lives in Florida. I found your dad, you little idiots. So, I sent him a message on Facebook asking if he had a son named First Name who goes by his username on Minecraft. The dad confirmed I had the right guy. So, my wife begins telling the dad everything that his son was saying to my daughter, and we sent him the recorded video as proof. Radio silence for a few days. Then we got the message back. This little idiot had his computer taken away from him for the entire summer, and he'd also been lying about his age. He was only 11, I think. His parents were freaking livid with him, and he surely hated the next few months of his life. Moral of the story, no one F's with my daughter. Wow, what a horrible and toxic little kid. I mean, for someone who's only 11 to be saying stuff like that, it's a bit mad. I mean, what a traumatic experience that must have been for, your entire family, OP, let alone your 8-year-old daughter. The thing that I do think, though, is that overall, this could be quite a informative/positive experience for everybody, because it will prevent a lot of bad stuff like this happening again in future. For your daughter, you could probably now inform her and educate her all about what cyberbullying is and how to stop it by, banning usernames, blocking usernames, turning off chat if she needs to, that sort of stuff, so she can learn how to deal with horrible, toxic people like this. And for the son, the 11-year-old, at least now he knows not to say this sort of stuff online, or at least he understands that the stuff you do say online can be still brought up in real life. Just because it's online doesn't mean it's not real. So this time he was lucky that only his parents found out. But what about in future when he's over 18 saying the same sort of stuff that's illegal, by the way? You can't just abuse people online, legally anyway. And then he gets caught by the police. It could have got a lot worse for him if he'd maintained doing this sort of stuff for a number of years. I'm hoping now, though, that your daughter, OP, knows how to deal with cyber trolls. And this guy, who is an online bully at the moment, will learn and get better from this situation and understand the danger of saying stuff like this on the internet. You just can't get away with that sort of stuff. Now moving on to our next post. A woman let her dog poop on the airport floor, so I pooped on her plans. While walking to my gate at LAX, I noticed a woman whose dog was in the middle of doing its business. The woman was loudly FaceTiming with her back to the dog, so I assumed she didn't notice. That was likely the thought shared by the gentleman who tried to get her attention. "Excuse me, miss," he said in a polite tone. The woman glared at him. "Your dog," he sheepishly continued, pointing to the mid-poop pup. The woman, though, rolled her eyes and went back to FaceTime as the man slinked away, seemingly embarrassed. "Some people," she bellowed to her FaceTime companion with no hint of irony, "are just so dang rude." When her dog finished, the woman started walking away, leaving everything right on the airport floor. Another woman tried to stop her. "You're not going to clean that up?" she asked, as shocked as the rest of us were. "They have people for that," the offender replied, disappearing into the crowd as much as someone yelling into their phone can disappear into a crowd. I stood near the pile and warned people to walk around it, while someone else got a maintenance worker's attention. No one said anything. We were so shocked that anyone could be that horrible. When I got to my gate, the woman was there too. Great. We were both going to Tokyo. When I travel abroad, I get embarrassed by other Americans doing things 100 times less embarrassing than leaving animal feces on the floor of an airport. To make it worse, her dog was now barking at everyone who walked by. I have nothing against people flying with their dogs. I do it often, but it is a privilege I take seriously. My dog is well trained and behaves better than most people. He certainly behaves better than this butthole. Speaking of buttholes, there is a pet relief area inside LAX, past security, just 2 gates away from where the party pooper let her dog go to town. It didn't matter, she was the type of person to litter 3 feet from an empty garbage can. While her dog barked at the world, the woman had moved from FaceTiming with no headphones to listening to music with no headphones. I don't like to throw around the word sociopath, but I don't know how else I could explain just how selfish and terrible of a person she was. I'd bet her car was somewhere in long-term parking, parked across 3 spots with paint on the bumper from the child's bike she hit without leaving a note. Everyone else tried to ignore her, sitting as far away from her as they could. I am not everyone else. I sat down right next to this horrible woman. "Are you going to London on business?" I said. "I'm going to Tokyo," she responded gruffly, annoyed that I interrupted her DJing. "Oh," I said, "then you better hurry. That flight got moved to gate 53C. This is the flight to London." I figured I could give her a little moment of panic as payback for how terribly she was treating everyone. I didn't predict, though, what would happen next. She grabbed her bags and her dog in a huff and stormed out of the gates without even checking. She was so self-involved, she didn't notice that the monitor at our gate still said Tokyo and almost everyone at the gate was Japanese. Based on her actions, she believed me that the flight had been moved, so therefore she's also a butthole for not thanking me. Some people, I thought, as I watched her rush away from the gate without stopping her, are just so dang rude. The flight to Tokyo was at gate 69A, so the 53 gates were on the other side of the next terminal, and I felt guilty knowing she probably berated some poor clerk who had to explain to her that there was no gate 53C. I don't know if she made it back to this flight before we took off or not, but I didn't see her board and I don't hear her dog. Her missing her flight was not my original intention, but it would be a fine punishment for her being so rude to everyone and making a low-paid stranger clean feces off the floor. What makes me wonder if I went too far is the knowledge that Delta only has 1 flight to Tokyo each day. Whoops. Maybe she can rebook on another airline. I hear they have people for that. Alright guys, no doubt in my mind that this was a pretty clever revenge. You know, she missed her flight after doing something horrible because of you, OP. That is pretty amazing stuff. However, I really think you should have just, done something normal and just reported her to the security guards or whatever. Leaving your dog to poop in a public place, I'm pretty sure is illegal in the majority of, it is illegal in this country and you can be fined quite heavily. I believe it's up to £1,000, may even be more. So why not just tell the security guard? They could check the CCTV. She wouldn't be let on her flight anyway because you'd know who she was because of CCTV and obviously she has that dog, and then she'd be forced to pay a big fine. Yes, I get it. She has now been forced to pay a fine in terms of, booking a new flight. But yeah, you're right. She probably did go and berate someone over at gate whatever, 69 it was. And that's ruined their day as well. Perhaps the employee who had to deal with her. So I think that the most simple solution, although it wouldn't have been as clever, would have just been to report her. Now moving on to our final post of today's video, neighbour sued me after harassing my dog for months, lost horribly. About 6 or 7 months ago, my neighbour got a drone. I don't mind people having hobbies, but for some reason, he insisted on flying like the biggest jerk possible. He would hover in front of other houses and windows, trying to race cars going down the road, and worst of all, he had a habit of flying his drone in my fenced backyard, buzzing over my dog, diving low just over my dog's head before circling around to do it again. My dog isn't small, he's about 70 pounds and a Malamute, but the drone terrified him, and I was worried what would happen if it hit him. I asked my neighbour several times to please not fly in my yard, and I explained that it was scaring my dog, but he basically told me to get lost and laughed in my face. When it still continued, I called the police. Unfortunately though, there wasn't much they could do other than ask him to please not fly over my house/property. Finally, in late December, it happened. My dog got tired of his rubbish and managed to catch the drone right as it was diving towards him. He shredded the drone. The thing was just a jumbled mess of wires and plastic. My neighbour was fuming. He stormed over to my house, swearing and threatening me, which I ignored. A week later, I got a summons to small claims court. He wanted $900 for the cost of his drone and an additional $300 for supposedly denying him access to his property. The drone sat in my yard for a couple of hours before it was retrieved. F that. He could have killed my dog. I don't have kids or a girlfriend, I just have my dog who has been my best friend for the past 7 years. That dog has moved with me 3 times, was there when I graduated college, saw me buy my first house and my first new car. I love my dog. So, I went to r/legal advice and got some great help from them. It turns out, him suing me was the best thing to ever happen. When we got to small claims court, the judge basically laughed away his claims that I had intentionally trained my dog to attack his drone. But little did he know, I was prepared. I had dozens of photos of my yard, showing it was impossible for him to accidentally fly that low to my dog. Videos of him harassing my dog in the past, and I had saved all my medical bills from taking my dog to the vet. $700 for an x-ray? Check. Another $250 to sedate him? Why not? I don't want him being uncomfortable. Full dental exam with 2 cleaning/repair? $400. Then there was the cost of anti-anxiety meds and a secondary checkup. Wet food for a week in case his teeth were hurt, and extra just for good measure. In the end, the butthole ended up owing me almost $2,000 and now is being investigated by the FAA for not having a registered drone and violating several FAA regulations concerning drone flights, too near to an airport, too close to other people, out of sight of operator, and way above the maximum altitude. Enjoy never being allowed to fly drones again, you idiots. I mean, look guys, I'll be the first to concede that, flying a drone, it's pretty bloody cool. If you ask me, I'd love to be able to do it. But I know there are loads of regulations in the UK, so I assume there are loads of regulations worldwide, that you have to have a license, you have to, only go in certain places. You can't go on private property that you haven't got strict permission for. That's an obvious one. And yeah, it's hard to do. It's hard to do successfully without, impinging on people's rights or on laws. So this guy, is just being an absolute idiot. I mean, I don't really know how he thinks he can get away with this. It's obvious if you've got high fences on your house and the drone is going lower than the fences, then obviously you're doing it on purpose. But clearly you're doing it on purpose. If you're going down to a dog, I mean, even the biggest dog in the world, how tall is it? Not very, is it? So come on. This guy was never going to get away with it. Just trying to be really petty by going to small claims court, obviously. And it's so good when these stories backfire. This guy's like, oh yes, I can make some money out of this dude at the moment because he's, his dog's just destroyed my drone. Fair enough. But it's your fault the dog's destroyed the drone. Come on. I just love that he's going into this court case thinking, I'm going to make about $1,000 here. In the end, he loses $2,000. What a turnaround. What a story. And I've thoroughly enjoyed the ending. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this episode of r/ProRevenge. If you want more amazing revenge stories just like this one, then I've got a playlist of all my ProRevenge videos right there for you. If you are new to my channel, as I said, make sure you hit the subscribe button for daily content. I mean, I'm actually posting twice a day throughout December, so yeah, subscribe for that. And also, if you want some lovely Redditor merch for Christmas, then, you need to get it pretty much now, or it might not arrive in time. That is down there as well. Lovely stuff, great comfort, and also very nice and warm for the winter months.